Have you ever felt drained, stressed, or completely unfulfilled at work? If you have, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced and high-pressure world, it's all too common to feel stuck in a job that doesn't bring joy. And it's not just our happiness at stake. This lack of fulfillment is affecting our creativity, productivity, and overall well-being. But here's the big question. Does work have to feel this way? What if there was a way to reignite the spark, to bring joy back into your career, and to transform your workplace into a space of meaning, energy, and creativity? In his groundbreaking book, The Joy of Work, Bruce Daisley takes us on a fascinating journey to uncover how we can redefine our relationship with work. Whether you're an employee searching for greater satisfaction or a leader aiming to uplift your team, Daisley's insights offer a roadmap to a more joyful, productive, and fulfilling work life. So, if you're ready to challenge the norms, rethink workplace culture, and discover how to turn your daily grind into something you actually look forward to, then stick around. Let's dive into the actionable ideas and transformative lessons from the joy of work. The decline of joy in work. Let's take a moment to step back and think about the state of work today. If you stop and reflect, you might realize something important. The joy in work has been slowly fading away. Gone are the days when work felt fulfilling and meaningful. Today, stress, burnout, and disengagement have reached alarming levels. In fact, research shows that a majority of employees feel disconnected from their jobs, with many reporting high levels of anxiety and dissatisfaction. But why is this happening? Why does work, something that occupies so much of our time, often feel like a chore rather than a purpose? Well, it's not just a coincidence. It's the result of how work has evolved over the years. Bruce Daisley, in The Joy of Work, draws attention to a harsh reality. Modern workplaces, despite all their advancements in technology and structure, often fail to nurture the human side of work. We live in an era where organizations are so focused on efficiency and performance that they've overlooked something fundamental: joy. We're pushed to do more in less time, constantly chasing deadlines and targets, but we rarely get the space to connect with the work itself. Think about it. How often do you feel like you're simply ticking off boxes on a to-do list rather than truly engaging with your tasks? How many times have you found yourself rushing through a project, only to look back and realize you didn't enjoy the process at all? That's because modern work culture, in many ways, is designed to dehumanize the work process. The pressure to perform at a high level, the constant drive for results, and the obsession with productivity have stripped away the sense of fulfillment that should come with our work. This culture of burnout and exhaustion has become the norm, and it's having serious consequences not just for employees, but for organizations as well. But here's the catch. Joy at work isn't just about feeling good. It's about creating an environment where productivity and success can truly thrive. Research has shown that when employees are happy and engaged, they perform better. They're more creative, more productive, and more likely to go above and beyond in their roles. In other words, joy at work isn't just a nice-to-have, it's essential for achieving better results. And the key to reclaiming joy at work lies in understanding its true power. Joy isn't about having a fun office culture or offering free snacks. It's about creating a space where people feel connected to their work, to their colleagues, and to the bigger picture. It's about feeling like what you do matters and that you're making a meaningful contribution. When we find joy in our work, we tap into a deeper level of motivation and satisfaction. Instead of working because we have to, we work because we want to. This shift in mindset can make all the difference in both our personal well-being and the success of the organizations we work for. So, why is it that so many workplaces still struggle with creating this kind of environment? It's because they often overlook the human aspect of work, the emotional and psychological needs that make us feel valued, motivated, and fulfilled. Instead, the focus is placed on outputs and results, often at the expense of employee happiness. The truth is, the more we ignore the importance of joy in the workplace, the more we risk alienating our most valuable asset, our people. And when employees disengage or burn out, it doesn't just hurt their mental health, it hurts the organization as a whole. In the next chapters, we'll explore how we can begin to turn this around. How can we reintroduce joy into our workplaces? How can we create environments where work doesn't feel like a burden, but something we genuinely look forward to? The answer lies in rethinking how we approach work, not just as a task to be completed, but as a space where people can thrive. The power of play. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Play at work? That sounds unprofessional. You might picture people goofing off, playing games at their desks, or wasting time when they should be focused on work. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt truly creative at work? When did you last experience that moment of inspiration when everything seemed to click into place? Well, according to Bruce Daisley, the answer might just lie in something that sounds a little surprising. Play. Yes, you heard that right. Play. But not in the way you're imagining it. Play at work isn't about running around the office or playing video games during lunch breaks. It's about creating an environment where creativity, collaboration, and experimentation are encouraged, where the rigid boundaries of traditional work are loosened just enough to spark new ideas and solutions. Bruce Daisley argues that play is one of the most powerful tools for bringing joy back into the workplace, and that's something we often overlook. Think about the times when you felt most engaged and productive at work. Was it when you were stuck in a meeting, following a set agenda? Or was it when you were given the freedom to brainstorm, collaborate, and explore new possibilities without fear of failure? I'm willing to bet it was the latter. When we allow ourselves to be playful, to explore ideas without the fear of them being perfect or polished, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of creativity. This is the heart of innovation. And what do we know about innovation? It thrives in environments where employees feel empowered to experiment, try new things, and take risks. Take a moment to think about the most successful and dynamic companies in the world: Google, Pixar, or even smaller startups. What do they all have in common? They have one thing in common above all else: an organizational culture that encourages play. Not in the sense of taking time off, but in fostering an atmosphere where curiosity is rewarded and where employees are encouraged to think outside the box. Think about it. When was the last time you had a meeting that felt truly productive, where everyone was bouncing ideas off each other with no pressure to perform? Those kinds of moments where you can just flow and collaborate freely are where magic happens. This is the power of play in the workplace. Now, you might be wondering, how can I introduce play into my own work life? Well, it doesn't have to be complicated or extravagant. In fact, it can be as simple as encouraging brainstorming sessions or allowing more flexibility in how tasks are done. Instead of strictly sticking to a rigid set of rules or processes, give people the freedom to experiment and come up with new solutions. For example, in meetings, why not throw out the formal agenda every now and then? Instead, let people bring their ideas without the fear of judgment. Hold a thought shower where all ideas, no matter how big, small, or even silly, are welcomed. You might be surprised at how much creativity gets unleashed. Another way to bring play into the workplace is by encouraging small, low-stakes experiments. This could mean testing out a new approach to a project or letting employees try out different methods to see what works best. The key is to shift away from a culture that rewards perfection and towards one that values experimentation. But the benefits of play extend far beyond creativity. When play is encouraged, teamwork improves. People feel more comfortable collaborating, and the bonds between colleagues grow stronger. The play creates a sense of safety, where ideas can be shared without fear of ridicule or failure. This leads to something crucial: trust. When you foster an environment of play, you build trust between team members. And trust is the foundation of any successful team. When colleagues feel safe to be vulnerable and express their ideas without the fear of being judged, they form deeper, more authentic connections. So, what does a workplace look like when play is embraced? It's a place where people feel excited to come to work because they know they'll be able to engage in creative thinking, collaborate freely, and take risks without being penalized for mistakes. It's a place where innovation is the norm and employees aren't just going through the motions. They're actively contributing and growing. In the end, play is about making work enjoyable and engaging again. It's about shifting the focus from just getting the job done to making the process of working itself something that fuels creativity, problem solving, and collaboration. And when that happens, it's not just the employees who benefit. The organization as a whole thrives. The importance of social connections. Now, let's talk about something that's even more powerful than play: social connections. If you've ever felt truly motivated or inspired at work, chances are it wasn't just the work itself that drove you. It was the people around you, the colleagues who encouraged you, made you feel valued, and helped you navigate challenges. In other words, your motivation came from the relationships you built at work. Bruce Daisley argues that these social connections are not just nice to have. They are absolutely crucial to our job satisfaction and overall success. When we feel connected to others at work, we're not just more motivated. We're also more productive, engaged, and happy. Having strong relationships at work gives us a sense of belonging, trust, and support, things that make all the difference in how we approach our jobs. Think about the times when you felt the most engaged at work. More often than not, those moments were fueled by the support of your team. Whether it was working together on a challenging project, sharing a laugh over coffee, or simply knowing you had people you could count on when things got tough, those social connections made you feel invested in the work. You felt like you weren't just there to punch in and punch out, but that you were part of something bigger, something meaningful. Now think about the opposite, the times when work felt like a drag, when you felt disconnected or isolated. It's hard to stay motivated when you feel like you're working alone, with no one to share your successes or struggles with. That's why Daisley emphasizes that fostering social connections at work isn't just about making the environment more pleasant. It's about ensuring that people feel supported, trusted, and understood, which directly impacts their engagement and performance. So, how can we strengthen these social connections in our workplaces? The first step is simple. Invest time in getting to know your colleagues. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of deadlines and meetings, but building relationships takes intentional effort. Take the time to have genuine conversations with your coworkers. Ask them how they're doing, what interests them, and how they're feeling about their work. This may seem small, but it creates a foundation of trust and respect. Another way to foster connections is by creating spaces for collaboration. Collaboration isn't just about working together on a project. It's about sharing ideas, offering feedback, and helping each other grow. When people work together, they learn from each other, inspire each other, and build relationships that go beyond just the tasks at hand. Whether it's regular brainstorming sessions, team meetings, or just informal discussions over lunch, creating opportunities for open exchange is key. Fostering a culture of openness is equally important. In many workplaces, people feel pressured to keep their thoughts and concerns to themselves, afraid of being judged or misunderstood. But in an environment where openness is encouraged, employees feel safe to express themselves. They're more likely to share their ideas, ask for help when needed, and contribute more to the team's success. This creates a sense of psychological safety, which is crucial for high-performing teams. But social connections aren't just about making work easier. They also help reduce stress. When we know we have people to rely on, work becomes less overwhelming. The emotional support of a colleague can make all the difference on tough days, and the shared sense of responsibility can motivate us to push through challenges together. When you're surrounded by people who genuinely care about your success, both professionally and personally, the workplace doesn't feel like a battleground. It feels like a community. The impact of social connections extends beyond the workplace, too. Research has shown that people with strong social networks at work are less likely to experience burnout and more likely to be satisfied with their jobs. They also tend to stay in their roles longer, reducing turnover rates and promoting long-term success for the organization as a whole. So, what does it look like when social connections thrive in a workplace? It's a place where people know each other, trust each other, and feel comfortable being themselves. It's a place where employees collaborate effortlessly, support each other through challenges, and celebrate each other's successes. It's a place where everyone feels like they belong. In the end, social connections are not just about making work more enjoyable. They're about building the kind of workplace that people are excited to be a part of. When we invest in our relationships with our colleagues, we create a stronger, more resilient team that is ready to take on any challenge together. Autonomy and trust. Let's now dive into a crucial aspect of work that can make or break your joy at the office: autonomy. Think back to a time when you were micromanaged. When someone hovered over your shoulder, double-checked every little thing you did, and questioned every decision you made. How did that make you feel? Frustrated? Demotivated? Maybe even a little resentful? Bruce Daisley argues that one of the biggest contributors to joy at work, and one of the most powerful motivators, is autonomy. When we're given the freedom to make our own decisions, manage our time, and control how we approach tasks, something incredible happens. We feel a sense of ownership over our work, which fuels our motivation and commitment to doing our best. On the other hand, micromanagement is the exact opposite of autonomy, and it's the enemy of joy. Micromanagers might believe they're helping by closely overseeing every detail, but all they're really doing is stifling creativity, limiting growth, and creating a tense, distrustful atmosphere. When we're constantly watched and second-guessed, we feel like we're not trusted to do our jobs, and that's a sure way to sap the joy right out of our work. But when we're given the trust to manage our own projects, choose how we approach challenges, and organize our time in a way that suits us best, we experience a completely different dynamic. We feel empowered. We feel responsible for the outcomes, which gives us a sense of pride in our work. And this empowerment isn't just a nice feeling. It directly leads to higher job satisfaction, increased productivity, and better results. This is why trust and autonomy go hand in hand. When employers trust their employees to take ownership of their work, they create an environment where people feel valued and respected. This trust isn't just about giving people the freedom to make decisions. It's about acknowledging their skills and abilities and showing confidence in their judgment. So, how does this trust translate into a more joyful and productive workplace? It's simple. When we feel like we're in control of our own work, we become more invested in the process. We're not just ticking off tasks from a to-do list. We're actively shaping how our work unfolds, which makes it more meaningful and enjoyable. Think about the best work experiences you've had. Chances are you were given the freedom to work in your own way. Maybe you had the flexibility to adjust deadlines, make decisions based on your expertise, or collaborate with colleagues in a way that felt natural. You were trusted to get the job done, and that sense of autonomy likely made you feel more motivated to perform at your best. In contrast, when we lack autonomy, we often feel trapped. We may find ourselves following a rigid set of rules that don't suit our working style, or being forced to conform to a process that doesn't make sense. This feeling of being restricted can cause frustration, anxiety, and burnout. When we don't have control over how we work, we lose our sense of agency, which directly impacts our happiness and performance. But here's the thing. Creating a culture of autonomy and trust isn't just beneficial for employees. It benefits the entire organization. When people feel trusted to make decisions and manage their own projects, they're more likely to take initiative, bring fresh ideas to the table, and contribute in meaningful ways. This leads to a more dynamic, innovative workplace, where everyone is motivated to perform at their highest level. So, how can you introduce more autonomy in your own work life? Start by looking for areas where you can take control of your tasks. Don't wait for permission to take the lead on a project or to try a new approach. Show your managers and colleagues that you're capable of managing your work and making decisions independently. And if you're in a position of leadership, make it a priority to trust your team. Give them the freedom to explore new ideas and handle their responsibilities without unnecessary interference. The impact of autonomy doesn't stop at individual work. It fosters a sense of ownership that ripples throughout the team. When everyone is trusted to manage their own work and make decisions, collaboration becomes more efficient and effective. People feel more confident in their roles, and they're more likely to contribute their best ideas and efforts to the team's success. In the end, the key to creating a joyful, thriving workplace is simple. Trust your people. Give them the autonomy to do their best work in their own way. This sense of freedom and responsibility doesn't just improve job satisfaction. It leads to better outcomes, stronger teams, and a more motivated workforce. Recognition and appreciation. Think back to a time when you were praised for a job well done. Maybe it was a simple thank you from a colleague, or perhaps a more formal recognition in front of the team. How did it make you feel? Proud? Energized? Motivated to do even better next time? Recognition has a way of making us feel seen and valued. And Bruce Daisley argues that this simple act is one of the most powerful ways to boost morale in the workplace. When we feel appreciated, we're more engaged in our work. We're more likely to put in the extra effort, to go above and beyond, because we know our contributions are noticed and valued. Recognition isn't just a nice perk, it's a key driver of performance. When people feel acknowledged for their hard work, they're more motivated to continue giving their best. It's like a feedback loop. The more recognition we receive, the more engaged we become, and the better we perform. But here's the catch. Recognition isn't just about offering compliments. It's about creating a culture where hard work, dedication, and achievements are consistently acknowledged and celebrated. It's about making people feel like their efforts matter and that they're an important part of the team's success. Whether it's a simple thank you after a well-completed project, a shout-out during a team meeting, or a more formal reward system, the act of recognition helps create a positive environment where everyone feels motivated to contribute. Bruce Daisley emphasizes that recognition goes beyond just ticking off a task or meeting a target. It's about celebrating the process, the effort, the creativity, and the dedication that people put into their work, even when the results aren't immediately visible. People want to feel like they matter, and recognition is a powerful way to show them that they do. Recognition doesn't have to be grand or expensive either. Small gestures can have a huge impact. A thank you note, a public acknowledgement, or even just taking a moment to recognize someone's hard work can make all the difference. These small acts of appreciation don't just improve individual morale. They can transform the entire atmosphere of a workplace. When employees see that others are being appreciated, it fosters a sense of belonging and encourages everyone to do their best. But the impact of recognition isn't just emotional. It has tangible benefits for the organization as well. Employees who feel recognized are more likely to stay with the company, reducing turnover and fostering long-term loyalty. They're also more likely to collaborate, share ideas, and support their colleagues, creating a more cohesive and productive team. So, how can you bring more recognition into your work environment? Start by looking for opportunities to acknowledge the contributions of others, no matter how big or small. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Just a simple, heartfelt thank you can go a long way. If you're in a leadership role, make recognition a regular part of your interactions with your team. Celebrate milestones, achievements, and progress, and make sure everyone knows they're valued. In the end, recognition isn't just about making people feel good. It's about creating a culture where everyone feels motivated to give their best, where hard work is celebrated, and where success is shared. When recognition becomes a regular part of your workplace, it fosters a sense of pride, accomplishment, and connection that drives engagement and performance. Work-life balance. In today's fast-paced world, there's a common misconception that the more hours you put in, the more successful you'll be. The culture of overwork and burnout has become all too familiar, with many workplaces glorifying exhaustion as a sign of dedication. But Bruce Daisley challenges that idea. He argues that true productivity and success don't come from working longer hours. They come from having a healthy work-life balance. When we're constantly on pushing ourselves to work through lunch breaks, staying late to finish projects, and ignoring our personal needs, we quickly burn out. Daisley points out that this kind of mentality might work in the short term, but it's unsustainable. Eventually, we become less effective, less focused, and less motivated. That's because burnout doesn't just affect our energy levels. It affects our creativity, problem-solving abilities, and overall performance. But when we take the time to recharge, when we prioritize our physical, mental, and emotional well-being, something incredible happens. We bring our best selves to work. We're more focused, more engaged, and more effective at what we do. When we give ourselves the space to rest and disconnect, we come back to our tasks with a fresh perspective, better ideas, and renewed energy. Daisley argues that encouraging employees to disconnect isn't just a nice gesture. It's necessary for long-term success. We all need breaks. We all need time to step away from our desks, to take a walk, to spend time with loved ones, or to simply relax and recharge. Without these breaks, we risk losing our creativity, becoming disengaged, and ultimately experiencing burnout. The key is to shift the mindset around work-life balance. Instead of seeing rest and personal time as wasted time, we need to view it as an investment in our productivity and well-being. When we take care of ourselves, we're better equipped to handle the demands of our jobs. We're more present in meetings, more effective in problem-solving, and more able to contribute to the success of our teams. But work-life balance doesn't just benefit employees, it benefits organizations as well. When companies encourage their employees to take care of themselves, they create a more sustainable and productive work environment. Employees who are well-rested and well-balanced are less likely to experience burnout, which leads to higher retention rates, more creative solutions, and greater job satisfaction. So, how can you create a better work-life balance for yourself? It starts with setting boundaries. Don't be afraid to disconnect after work hours, even if it's just for a little while. Make time for activities outside of work that recharge you, whether it's exercising, spending time with family, or simply enjoying a hobby. Don't let your work consume every moment of your life. And if you're in a leadership role, encourage your team to take breaks, to disconnect, and to prioritize their well-being. Model these behaviors yourself, and make sure your team knows that taking care of themselves is not only okay, it's encouraged. In the end, the most productive and successful people are the ones who understand the value of balance. By taking care of our bodies and minds, we're not just avoiding burnout, we're setting ourselves up for long-term success. A healthy work-life balance isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. When we take care of ourselves, we can bring our best to everything we do, at work and in life. Culture over strategy. As we wrap up our journey through creating more joy at work, there's one final point that Bruce Daisley makes, and it's a game changer for how we think about success in the workplace. Daisley argues that company culture is more important than strategy. Yes, you heard that right. Culture trumps strategy. Now, don't get me wrong. Strategies and business models are important. But Daisley believes that even the best strategy won't succeed if it's not supported by a positive, supportive, and joy-filled culture. Think about it. If your workplace is filled with negative energy, constant stress, and disengaged employees, no business strategy, no matter how brilliant, will be able to thrive. On the flip side, when you have a culture where people feel valued, trusted, and empowered, everything else falls into place. A positive culture sets the foundation for success. When employees feel like they're part of a supportive team, when they feel like they belong and are appreciated for their contributions, they're naturally more motivated to work hard, collaborate, and innovate. They're more likely to take ownership of their work, go the extra mile, and contribute to the company's goals. This doesn't just lead to better performance. It leads to higher employee retention. People stay at companies where they feel respected and where they're surrounded by colleagues who lift them up. But what does a joyful company culture look like? It's a culture where people feel safe to express themselves, where their ideas are valued, and where there's a genuine sense of camaraderie among colleagues. It's a culture that celebrates not just the big wins, but also the small efforts, progress, and contributions. When we create an environment where people feel good about coming to work each day, where they feel energized and excited to collaborate, we create the conditions for long-term success. Daisley emphasizes that a joyful culture isn't something that just happens overnight. It requires conscious effort and a commitment to prioritizing the well-being and happiness of employees. Leaders must actively cultivate an environment where respect, appreciation, and trust are the norms. And it's not just about perks or flashy incentives. It's about fostering meaningful connections, recognizing achievements, and encouraging people to bring their whole selves to work. In fact, a positive culture often leads to even more innovation and growth than the most cutting-edge business strategies. Why? Because when employees feel valued and supported, they're more likely to take risks, share creative ideas, and think outside the box. They don't fear failure because they know they have the trust and support of their team behind them. They're not just working for a paycheck. They're working for something bigger, for a company that values them as individuals. So, how can you start building a culture of joy and support in your workplace? It starts with you. As an individual, focus on cultivating positive relationships with your colleagues. Be the person who encourages, appreciates, and empowers others. If you're in a leadership role, make culture a top priority. Foster open communication, create opportunities for collaboration, and recognize the efforts of your team regularly. And most importantly, make sure that joy, respect, and appreciation are at the core of everything you do. In the end, the most successful companies aren't necessarily the ones with the most sophisticated strategies or the latest business models. They're the ones with a culture that brings out the best in their people, a culture where employees feel valued, empowered, and excited to come to work every day. That's the real key to long-term success. Conclusion: The Joy of Work isn't just a book, it's a wake-up call. It challenges us to rethink the way we approach our jobs and workplaces. Bruce Daisley shows us that work doesn't have to be a grind, a place of stress, or a source of constant burnout. It could be something much more, a space where joy and success coexist. By focusing on the core elements that truly matter: play, social connections, autonomy, recognition, and balance, we can transform our workplaces into environments that inspire, uplift, and motivate. These aren't just fluffy ideals. They're actionable strategies that can make a real difference in how we feel about work and how we perform. But the question remains: what can you do today to bring more joy into your work life. Maybe it's something as simple as reaching out to a colleague to strengthen a connection. Or perhaps it's taking a well-deserved break to recharge and come back with a fresh perspective. It could even be as small as offering a word of recognition to someone who's done a great job. These small, deliberate changes can lead to big transformations. Daisley's message is clear. Joy isn't a distraction from productivity, it's a driver of it. When we embrace joy at work, everyone wins. You, your team, and your organization. Joy leads to creativity, engagement, and success. And it starts with each of us making intentional choices every day. So, let's make a commitment to change the way we think about work. Let's focus on creating workplaces where people feel valued, connected, and empowered. Because when work becomes joyful, it's no longer just work. It's a place where we can thrive. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the joy of work. If you found these ideas helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with someone who might need a little more joy in their work life. And of course, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Until next time, let's make work a place of joy. See you in the next video.